Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to this awesome time of a lessons learned with our friend Genet, who passed the exam today. Genet, how you feeling?
Happy that it's over. Yeah.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Isn't it amazing? You started this program with us on the 4th of December, and look at it, you're done and dusted. That is absolutely phenomenal. We
Thank you.
don't really have a lot of students that do it that quick. So you obviously did something very well. And all of our friends here would love to know. That's why they're here. So folks on the call, do you have any shout outs for a friend Gannett who has killed the exam today? Just a few hours ago, actually.
Congratulations.
Thank you. First, I want to start off by saying thank you to Phil because prior to signing up, I was completely lost.
Aw.
And I didn't even have a roadmap as to where to begin. I don't have a lot of technical or like project management experience, so I really needed guidance. So thank you, Phil.
It's a pleasure, and thank you for choosing Praizion. And how did you come across Praizion? Did you see me on YouTube? Was that how you found me?
I've been watching you for quite some time. I feel like a stalker, probably like I just like the way you simplify everything to basic understanding.
I try.
Yeah, and it works. So
thank you so much. I'm really, really elated. Now let's jump straight into it. Folks on the call here, some of them have the exam coming up tomorrow, some the day after, and some very, very near term. I would like folks on the call to immediately begin to put questions in the comments. But before we answer all those questions, Gannett, what I would love for us to do is to answer the big elephant question in the room, and it's this. What percentage was agile and what percentage was people?
for me, I almost have to say 90% agile.
Wow.
It was all about people. And I think I wish I can show you my study area. I don't know how to flip.
Please show it to us. Just turn the camera and
I have the whiteboard. I have everything printed. My whole life, the last 2 weeks has been studying, and I put in 8 to 10 hours a day.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And how I started was I watched your videos 3 times before going into the class. So when we were doing the class, it was more of a review. And if I have any question, clarification, I'll ask you. And I did all the quiz. I scored really low because I wasn't reading the questions properly. And I would advise everyone that's taking the exam, it's really about taking your time and understanding what they're asking, who you are. I did process of elimination. Okay, what am I? Am I a project manager? Am I what's the question? So the questions are very long. I just highlighted who am I and what am I doing? And what are they asking
me? Gannett, look, I need you to help me out with this because I'm curious. Without getting into specifics, just make up a question about, I don't know, anything from your day-to-day life. Give me an idea of the length and the narrative. Just make something up. What would it sound like?
It was about, okay, you have a team that's feeling overwhelmed. What would you do as a project manager? What would you do as a servant leader? Your team member is feeling isolated or not participating. What would you do? And what really helped me was I was listening to one of Roy's recording where one of his friends died from a heart attack.
Yeah.
That really resonated because when I was answering the question, and the advice you gave me, people first. So before I would say, oh, add resource, or no, I said most of the question was scenarios. What would you do? What would you do? All about helping your team. So add resource without thinking, analyzing, okay, if I add resource, would it impact cost? You didn't have to go through all that. Just simply go for what makes sense.
Wow. So very people heavy. What percentage?
Extremely.
So PMI says it's 42% people. Does that balance up or is it more people?
Like I was telling you over the phone, during my second break, I asked if I was taking the correct exam. That's how confused I was.
Because it was so people focused, huh?
People, communication, stakeholders, like how to identify them, how to engage with them, where to get approval, if they, it was just about basic, nothing about process.
Wow.
Not much. I didn't have any formula. What I did have is what you suggested. I wrote it down. This one. This you really need to know. This formula.
Ah.
So right when I walked in, they give you pen and paper. I wrote that down. And then that's all I had, this and people first. So before I answer everything, I looked at my note and said, okay, what are they asking? But this you should really know.
That is good to know. So is it fair to say people that attend the masterclass have more than enough firepower? It's like taking like a machine gun to a pea shooter fight.
Honestly, if people are following exactly what you're saying, and definitely do all the quiz, the 180 mock exam. And I also spend a lot of time on the Scrum website. What is it called?
Scrum.org, Ken Schwaber's website. Yeah.
I spent a lot of time on that, and I took all the free assessment quiz they had.
Yeah.
And I also went on the Agile website. I printed out all the key terms, even though you covered all of them. Yeah. I printed all of them. I printed everything, and because I'm a visual learner, and I'm very weak with the process groups. So I wanted to focus on what I can accomplish in 2 weeks. So 10 hours a day, 2 weeks.
Yeah, I remember when, I had that flat tire because you and I were supposed to meet and I couldn't get back to my office, and I was calling you and we're trying to figure out, okay, do this. And I think when you really hunkered down to watch those Roy's videos before the class, when I taught Agile, we were just going through it at a very quick pace. Now, a lot of the people on the call had already been through the class one time, but the reason why you could keep up is because you watched those videos. You really watched the videos. And I could tell, I can count on my one hand the amount of times you had questions from that Agile piece. You knew it quite well. And it's no surprise, that you aced the exam with all above targets today, because a lot of it was Agile heavy, like you said.
It was extremely Agile. And, I don't have any background in Agile. I don't really have that much project management too. And from the class, I felt like I was the weakest link. So that's why I wanted to, by the time we did our class, it would be my 4th time going through, and I had the blackboard. So I had everything under the sky.
Wow.
And I realized I was failing most of the quizzes because I wasn't really understanding what they're asking or understanding the process. I was simply trying to remember the answer so I can score higher. Yes. That's not the concept. So the manifesto was huge. A lot of my questions came from this. Wow. Number 4, number 8, and number 11. Communication was really huge. And from the process group, ironically, I really didn't get much other than resource communication and stakeholder. Like all that was all situational. You really need to know how to communicate, okay, resources, how to help, when to add resource, when your teams are feeling unmotivated. It's a lot of unmotivated. They don't feel motivated. They feel all that, all situational.
So really be aware of how the team feels, be emotionally intelligent and inspire them and motivate them and encourage them, and don't punish them. I'm sure there were always punishment options. Punish the team or
punish anything that's like red flag, like you said. I did process elimination. Anything that says escalate, cross it out. And it says that says punish or cross it out. So I'm left with 2 answers.
Good.
Based on that, I just went with what will feel approved.
Awesome. Let's take a look at that area once again. Just take a look and
Yeah,
look
2 weeks.
Oh, it shows that your whole world for the past 3 weeks almost has
2
been
weeks.
nothing.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Oh my gosh, you're
Yeah.
right. You know,
Yeah.
you came on the program on the 4th and we got done with our final class on the 18th.
Yeah.
Wow.
Friday.
I can see you drawing the triangle, the constraint, the triple constraint schedule.
That was on the exam. What's flexible, what's not on Agile. That was really helpful.
Wow. Wow. So let's talk about a few things so I can get them off the table. You've talked about people. It was very big. Process was very minuscule. Did business even surface in your mind? And if it was there, not noticeable?
I don't think I noticed it. The process was big, but on Scrum, Agile process.
Gotcha. What about hybridization, about part predictive part? Was there a lot of that?
It was a lot of Agile, a lot of hybrid.
Gotcha.
And they will tell you, you're in a hybrid and situation, what would you do? What would you do? What would you do? It was all situational.
So does that mean, Genet, to really drive this home, tackling the ITTOs and trying to cram them and memorize them is almost worthless? Is it fair to say that, or is that too harsh for me to say?
I think I had a little bit of understanding of them, but I didn't really spend that much time because I think it was too late. 2 weeks is not enough.
Yes. What about
the output? Like it just confused me. So I just, you do know product chart, the charter.
Yeah, project charter.
Product charter. That was huge. Really understanding the input, the output, who approves it, who doesn't.
Gotcha. So it does make sense to at least have an understanding at an intermediate level. Don't get obsessed with trying to cram ITTOs. What about process names? Let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, how important was it to know the process is called managed project knowledge versus lessons learned? Was that really all that important?
I didn't get a single question.
Oh my gosh.
Thank God, because I didn't know. I didn't really spend. I just said that was just too complex. I just didn't understand it.
So if you're going to count out of 180 times, how many times you saw a process exactly named? How many times would that be?
They named everything pretty much, and they said you're in a planning stage, and your team feel inadequate. They don't have enough information.
Okay, so at the process group level, but not getting into direct and managed project work. And those really.
What your team feels stuck on a project? What tools and would you use to like help eliminate or clarify the questions that have? I just want with what's basic question. Like it's so simple where you will overthink yourself to not answer it. It's all about if you overthink it and it just becomes you're just way far to where you really need to be.
So let's be honest, because I know someone who didn't pass the exam, not one of our students at the time, and you know someone who has had the same problem. So it's probably better to say, if you're not someone who understands empathy and emotional intelligence, and you're very analytical, you need to be aware of your analytical brain because it might be telling you it's too easy, right?
Correct. If you're in that, what you just said, you're automatically gonna go to cost control. Okay, I want to add resources to help my team. But how then now you're thinking project management, traditional way. Okay, if I add resource, how would this impact cost? How would procurement? So now you're in a different zone. That's not what they're asking.
And it's not about that. Gotcha. So let's talk about how you navigated the exam, because you were done in how many hours?
2 hours.
2 hours, my goodness. So you had 1 hour, 50 minutes you didn't even need. That is warp speed. And you took all of your breaks?
I took all my breaks. Which I first, it was so easy. I was like, I'm not gonna take it. And then I took my break, I had water, and I'm glad I did because second time around, the questions were longer. But before I took the exam, I went into your site and listened to everybody's feedback on how they tackled the exam. So why reinvent the wheel? So I listened to everybody and gathered what I can from everyone, see how I can apply it to my own knowledge. So Carlos, I think, was really huge. And then you had another person that wrote a poem.
Oh yes. What's his name?
Yeah.
The name escapes me, but yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I printed it out and it was too confusing, so I said, "This is not gonna." And you had another one that was a project manager for like 10 plus years. He said the exam was extremely difficult. So, but,
yes,
I took all their advice, read through the exam. I didn't analyze half of it. I skipped it because it was just mumbo jumbo. It was just to confuse you.
Really? Wow.
Highlighted. Okay, you are at XYZ. You're doing XYZ. How can you solve it? Period. So that's
so a lot of unnecessary language in the questions, huh?
Yeah, and if you sit there and read it, you're not gonna have enough time. You just I was getting confused, so I said I just process elimination. This I don't need. Cross it out and move on to the next.
This is very insightful, Genet. So let's write down here. You have 180 questions and you spend 120 minutes. So let's do the let's do the analysis. How many questions were you answering per minute? Who can do that math? So it's 120 divided by 180. And what does that give us? Oh, you were using only 0.6 of a minute. So you were using roughly, my goodness, almost 36 seconds per question.
And I look at I did what you recommended. First, I read the answers. And then I went to the question. And then I just eliminated 2 right away. Okay, this is not even going to be an option. Narrowed one answer and went to the next one. I never went back to any of the questions.
That is extremely quick. Now, when you took our exams, were you that quick as well? Are you typically a quick reader? No?
No. I took my time when I was taking the mock exam because I really fully wanted to understand.
You were not rushing. It's not that you were rushing. You were just finding them so easy based on your practice and all that you've done over the past few weeks.
That, and I was starting to panic because the time is going and I'm just not a good test taker. I'm not a good test taker. So I was just really panicking inside, but I also wanted to, stay focused. So all I did is eliminate, click on the right one, move it on. So
wow.
By the time I got to number 80, I already knew I was either doing really well or I was just not well at all.
You didn't feel that way when you were taking any of our mock exams or smaller exams, did you? You felt differently?
I felt very not ready, but I think I overstudied, and I think that's a good thing.
I think we prepared you far more than,
which is really important. Yes.
Yeah, we try our best to. So let's go to some frequently asked questions. You didn't have enough time to read the entire guide, obviously, did you? You've read it before though, right?
I read it a year ago, and honestly, I took some of the best naps I have I ever had reading that book. It was just so wordy. I never really understand it, and I couldn't never fully understand it. It was just too much. So
I remember you told me you had a bunch of books, and I said, "Don't read them. Don't read them. Don't read them."
Yeah, I didn't. But I did watch a lot of videos on YouTube, and I took a lot of notes.
Gotcha. Good. And you didn't delay the exam. There was no option to delay the exam. So I'm glad that you went pedal to metal. And even up to a couple of days ago, remember, I kept on saying, you're going to do well. Do you know you're ready? Do you know I was questioning you because I wanted to hear, I'm ready to smack the exam in the jaw. And you were still a little bit cautious and like, you need to get to that place where so did you get to that point where you're like, bring it on?
No, I don't think I ever got to that place. I mean, today was my last day to take it, or, I have to start the whole process.
What I was hearing from you was, let me just get it over with, whatever.
I just want it to be done. Fail or pass, I just want to be done. Because I don't know who's listening. if you're trying to take this at home, I've had the worst experience.
Wow.
And the worst each and
Wow.
every time. So I'm just gonna
Wow.
take it on the site and be done with it and never look back.
You
I
went
don't
through a lot of
want to.
pain. Yeah, that was so
Horrible
horrible of
system,
them.
horrible. Customer service just sucks.
So they stopped you from taking the test and then they charged you money again to reschedule. That's draconian, isn't it?
That, and well, initially the system crashed from their end.
Ah,
That's done. And then I made a mistake with scheduling. That's okay, that was my fault. Third time around, sitting down trying to take the exam, I turned around to put a sweater. They, cancel you, and you fail each and every time.
wow.
But I was not prepared. All I wanted to do is sit for the exam, see how it's worded, see where I can improve. This time around, I had no choice. And by the time I was ready to take the exam, they changed it to Agile, which I was not aware of, or have no idea how any of this works.
It's crazy. So do you must feel a lot more confident in Agile now, right?
Oh, yes.
Good, good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, look, I'm really excited that you came to speak to us. We've got our friends here, Mary, Nicole, Stan, Terrell, and Yolanda are here. So I want to open the floor for anyone who has questions. Mary, Nicole, Stan, Terrell, Yolanda, have you got questions that you would like our friend Genet to answer for you? Just go ahead and mute and ask your question or concern.
Genet, congratulations. This is
Thank
Nicole
you, Nicole.
Jackson. I take my test tomorrow, so I'm here trying to do some more
You got it.
testing. But you answered my questions, and my question was, how many times did you read the PMBOK? And it's amazing to hear that. Of course, you said you read it last year or 1 year ago. But I just keep referring to it, and I guess you've confirmed that I don't really need to read it. This will be my third time today. I scanned it.
You don't need to read it verbatim, but you should have just an understanding of it. And were you in my class?
She was, yeah.
Okay, so remember, was it Carlos again? The one with
Carlos.
the classical music?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not a class, I don't really listen to classical music. It's just not who I am. But I tried it, it actually works.
Wow.
So that day I did the whole class. I spent, I think, 4 hours just kind of speed reading.
Mm-hmm.
And because I think you need to know the first, like, because, another thing is, I have it here. The first chapter is chapter 1 and 2, you should really know.
Mm.
And the code of
Okay.
ethics. Yeah.
Exactly.
What is this? Decision-making frame.
Okay.
And how you'll address it with situational.
What document was it? I didn't see it on your video.
Ethical decision-making frame. I think it's chapter 2, like the first few pages.
Okay.
Just like being honest, fair.
Yeah.
Was that the PMBOK book or was it the?
It's on the PMP. Yeah, it's I don't remember.
Yeah, my code of ethics.
Yeah, code of ethics. I think page.
Okay.
I'm gonna put the link in the chat.
That's the
now.
PMBOK then, okay.
Yeah, I read that again this morning. I downloaded it from the PMI site.
Oh, good.
And if your exam is tomorrow, just stop, because you're just gonna. I think yesterday after 5 p.m. I wasn't reading anything. I just said, if I don't know by now, it's better to just rest my mind.
So, okay, I'll take your advice. Today, though, I was cramming, and it was amazing how I learned something new another time around. So if I stop, I don't know, I just fear something I may forget something, I don't know.
You know enough. You know enough already.
I think you should just take quizzes.
Yeah.
Because it's really, the questions can be a bit tricky. I don't want to say it was too easy. It is tricky. And if you really don't, even though I did answer it quick, it's because I practiced. There's other quizzes that I've taken that are a lot more lengthier.
Oh, yeah.
Really understand what they're really asking. Because if it's all about answering the questions, but answering it properly as to what they're asking. So it could be a bit confusing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of questions the way they combine agile and predictive, right? So for me, I'm thinking, okay, if I see product owner, okay, I'm an agile. But then it also has project management. So for a few minutes, I was confused as to where I was situated.
Mm-hmm.
So I think,
and then one thing I remember they had in a long line with what you're saying, they threw in the Scrum Master, you know, having similar responsibilities as a project manager. And I think I got that wrong because I was in the mindset of a project manager and not a Scrum Master. Did you get any questions about that?
No, all the question was, as a project manager, what would you do? Even though the question was agile based, I figured I'm taking an exam based on to be a project management, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't even sit and analyze it. Okay, I'm just gonna answer the question as agile. This is what I would do, even though they're naming you as a project manager and not a product owner.
Okay.
That's very.
And you know, surprisingly, a lot of the questions, that's the 180 questions that we did.
Mm-hmm.
I would say like 10, 11 of them, I got the same questions, just framed differently.
Wow.
Okay.
And you should really know the Stacy complex model.
Yeah.
That's really important. Not just to memorize, but like the concept of it.
There's a lot of stuff you know, Genet, and because you know it really well, that's what made you have superhuman powers on the exam, because you really know it well. So someone off the street, you know, probably would find the language hard. But because you've been through the right, you know what the Stacy model is, you know what Agile is. There's some people who are just going in there, just believing their real world is going to see them through. And that's where they fall flat, you see.
I mean, I have so many whiteboards. It's just the refinement. You really need to know what you do in sprint review. Who do you demo? Who do you demo to? And you really, really need to understand what you do in rest. I mean, it's not just memorizing them, it's really understanding it. And I think that's what I spend so much time, because I don't know, like I feel like, Nicole, if you were in my class, I just feel like I was less experienced from everyone. So I really need to figure out how I study well and just not compare myself with anyone.
It's very helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. You do great.
Thanks.
Awesome. Who else has questions? Stan? Question? Mary, you got questions?
Exam in New York, did you?
Yeah, I'm in New York.
Yeah, I remember on I think Saturday you were saying, well, Phil was encouraging you to go and drive by the center before
It was closed.
before it closed.
That's
and
true.
I was like, in my mind, I was like, did she really go, or she's gonna really?
I did, because first of all, my sense of direction is not the best, and I really wanted to get this exam over with.
Yeah, I used to live in New York on 61st between 1st and 2nd.
Okay.
In the city, and so when you said we don't drive in New York, so I knew exactly where you was coming from. Yeah, but
no, I went.
Yeah, what I took the 150 questions yesterday, and I think I scored is it 63 or 64 thereabouts. But what I was a little concerned that, and I know where I fell down. I fell down in the ITTOs. And based on, and so today I've spent the day really going over Phil videos, certainly the main line, and just making sure that I understand at least the inputs and outputs, like you say, the inputs to the developing the project charter, the outputs of the developing project charter. But now, but I'm going to keep doing it because I don't want to be surprised and get actual ITTOs. But it's really, really encouraging to hear you say that, you know, Phil's review of the Agile manifesto and has been very, very helpful, and certainly the approach to the exam. I too sometimes I do get some anxiety with the long paragraph type questions, but I've over the last month or so, I realized that a lot of it is just fluff, really. If you perhaps go to less than half of that text and just focus on what the question is and look at the answer choices, you should be able to make a pretty quick decision. But I am amazed at how fast you actually went through, though. I mean, that's blazing.
That is very quick. Yeah.
That's extreme.
The questions that I got wrong, which was a lot of them, I'll write it down and I'll go back and review the video as to why I got it wrong and really understand it instead of saying, okay, this is the right answer. So that's how I approached all the questions. I think I scored way less than you at first initially. And then I'll have to really understand, okay, this is what they're asking. And then the third time around when I took the quizzes, it's because I wasn't reading it, except which one. Like, even on the real exam, they'll ask you, what would you not do? But automatically you want to answer, what would you do? So it's just really taking the time and just, I don't know if you're taking it, are you taking it home?
No, I had a horrible experience on Saturday.
Oh, yes. Please don't take it home.
That was. I'm not going to do that again. I really can't.
On the prompt, you have you can like cross out, you can highlight, and really use all those tools to help you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I am actually have to apply for a visa. I just realized my U.S. visa had expired. So however long that's going to take, a week, 2 weeks, then I'll just keep pushing until I get the visa, and I'll take it within a couple of days of that. So
it's fresh.
Yeah.
So easy to forget.
Yeah, I'm pretty disciplined in staying with my agenda. So and Phil has a lot of material that I haven't even looked at yet. So I'll just keep finding new stuff to keep me motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. But thank you.
I will have one of these again, hopefully.
And Nicole, I think I cannot emphasize enough about the manifesto, like individual interaction. But what does that really mean? Because for me, I was like, okay, but I really had to dig. I spent so much time on Agile and Scrum website to really understand, because it can't be that simple. So I really need to read it. I spent so much hours understanding what they mean and what they stand for. So it'll be easier to answer the questions, the situational questions at least.
Okay, I wrote down one more question. I heard you say you can do the cross out, the highlight. Did you have time to write out any, typically they say the mnemonic or any brain dump? Did you have time to do that before you started?
Oh, right before the I even answered one question. I wrote the formulas, the SPI and the CPI. I just wrote that. And then I wrote in big because Phil said people first. Before I answer any question, I'll look at my note, people. Okay, I just need to focus on the team, the developers, the team. That's how I approached all the, but I didn't write down the mnemonics, the process groups. No, not really, because I just felt like that would be a waste of my time. Writing all that. I didn't do that. If it helps, you should, but I didn't need to.
And then did they have a question that did the drag and drop or matching
type that question? Was the Stacy complex model. Drag the highest, the lowest, yes. That was I had 2 or 3 questions on that.
Okay.
It's repetition. I think they asked the same question, different way.
Oh, okay. Did you find that the multiple choice answer in that case was the same? But they just changed.
And also the communication mode, the pull, the push, the virtual, like all that was really huge.
Okay.
You should know those.
Nicole, how long have you been studying?
I started reading the PMBOK in July. But you know, that's just throughout my day, no real schedule. You know, I was just getting started. I would say I picked up more when I started Phil's class, because I felt like this is just personal information. This will be my third time. And I just felt like I'm not, and I took one boot camp and it was just all high level. We didn't even go through the PMBOK. Like Phil said, you need to read the PMBOK. So it's been, so I took my test in 2018. I think the first 2017, 2018, and then now again, 2021. So, and then of course it changed last year with Agile. So since July, I would say I really got started, and then really got serious around October.
You can see this is all like the book.
Yeah.
So
Highlighted.
Jeanette,
Yeah, you should see my desk. I have 2 desks. I have walls covered with the large sticky thing.
Yeah.
Jeanette, so how long were you studying? Did you just go in like full gear for 2 months, or?
I'm almost embarrassed to admit it's like 2 weeks when I signed up, but I went, at least I did 10 hours a day for the last 2 weeks.
Okay, that's comforting.
Yeah, 2 weeks, but you really just have to put in 8 to 10 hours a day. With the PMBOK, I just couldn't, just didn't have enough time. I read it a year ago. If you ask me a question, I will not remember it.
Did you listen to Phil's audios at all?
All day, every day, all night. That's all I did. I listened to Phil in the morning and I go to sleep listening to his voice.
Yeah, I'm finding that's helping actually.
Yeah, and it's just really, for me, because English isn't my first language, I think, and I think in a different language and I speak, so it's hard for me to understand it. So it was really the way he breaks everything down. It was just like, oh, okay, I understand that. Okay, that follows next. So it was really helpful.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Thanks, I definitely need it. So that's so.
When are you taking your exam?
It'll probably be after the holiday.
Okay.
I'm thinking before MLK though. It may be sooner than that, but.
Get over it. This was my Christmas gift for myself.
Oh, indeed. Freedom to not look at the PMBOK guide anymore in that way, at least in that way.
Definitely.
Yeah, I just also want to say I watched one of Phil's videos where the guy was talking about 10 things that he did, and the first thing he did was plan his celebration. So I planned my celebration in Vegas. So
Wow.
that
Look at you. Nice. That's good. It's a good way to envision the end. I had a student who made a mock certificate for herself, and she dated it, and it was just a few days off to the day when she actually did pass the exam. So yeah, very good to envision the end from the beginning. Good stuff.
And I didn't believe when everybody said you put in the hours, you can do it. And I think.
Yeah, you did. I really believe, because you did it habitually, day in, day out, for hours and hours and hours, it got to the point where you were so jacked up on PMBOK or jacked up on the mindset. It's really more of the mindset than anything else. And I actually want to play that final message. I've edited it a little bit with all the greetings in the beginning and the end, Genette. But I think because you shared with me, the message was helpful. So I think if we play, I think we'd be played for our friends. They might just hear what you were able to listen to a few hours before going in. So I was meant to have called Genette yesterday. That didn't work. So I ended up creating this. It's a little message, just to say, this is what I think you should focus on. So I'm going to play that for everyone. Let me go ahead and share the screen, and you'll just hear me talking. All right, and let's share the sound, and this is it. What I really wanted to talk about with you is the fact that the test that you took, the last test you took, the CAPM, it's a great test for the CAPM, but it's not the best as far as apples to apples with the PMP. And the reason is the CAPM exam is based pretty heavily on the PMBOK guide only, nothing else. So I wouldn't sweat it. In fact, that CAPM exam you took had pretty much 0 to non-existent Agile. There might have been 1 or 2 questions that were Agile, but I don't think there were that many. The PMP exam has a lot more Agile, okay? So I wanted to encourage you about that. Nothing major, okay? The exam is going to test situational abilities. It's not going to test rote knowledge. So just have in the back of your mind, people are important. Treat people the way you would like to be treated. Always solve the problem. Don't pass the buck on to someone else when you're the PM. Solve the problem. There will be instances where you may need to get management involvement if the project objectives are changing or some higher level things of importance are happening. Other than that, it's always solve the problem, treat people nicely, don't punish people, espouse team collaboration, think about the business environment and how it affects the project, be proactive to change based on the environment, and just remember, in the world of Agile, we do things in iterative and incremental pieces, okay? And that was a message.
And I felt like I was cheating because I took that and it's exactly how I answered all the questions, all of them. And I don't know if I sent you my score. People above target, process above target, and business environment above target.
Wow, that's just way awesome for someone who just got on the program 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so
It's
if I can do it, you guys are easy cake.
It's very remarkable what you've achieved. Thank you so much for coming to share with us. I know I put the meeting at 30 minutes, and I know you got things to do. Now you're PMP, you can go celebrate and enjoy it.
I want to sleep. It's been 2 weeks of
sleep deprivation. Oh.
I want to throw all this away where I have the incremental, yeah, no.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you so much. If there are any other questions, I think they can folks get hold of you if they've got any other questions?
Yeah, you can forward my email to them. It's fine.
Okay. So I'm gonna put your email in the chat so that you know.
Nicole, you taking your exam tomorrow, you said?
Yes, tomorrow, 12:45.
Are you taking it home or on site?
No, I'm going to the center, Purview.
Okay,
yeah, I went today to check it out. So I feel like I'm ready.
I think you need like at least 30-40 minutes. I don't know where you're located. You know, they pat you down, they check everything. I don't know if you wear glasses, they make it, I mean, it's a process. It's like going through jail to visit somebody. It's I don't know if that applies everywhere, but in New York, that's what I have to go through. It took like 20-30 minutes.
Did they?
Yeah, they did that.
Ask for COVID cards or anything like that?
You know, they didn't.
Okay.
And just because this is how I wanted to get this over with, I stood in line yesterday for 4 hours to take a COVID test, just in case they asked. I had my vaccination card ready, nothing.
Wow.
But that's a good point. I'll make sure I bring mine and my mask. They make you wear your mask though, right?
Oh, the whole time, yes. The whole time.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Ask you to pull it down for the quick observation if you're who you are. Right?
Yeah, they'll take a picture of you initially and then.
All right.
No, they didn't ask for anything, surprisingly.
Well, Genette, thank you so much. Hearty congrats. I'm excited. I would love to let some other individuals, just like you found us, listen to your words of wisdom. So is that okay if I
Yeah,
let
that's
other-
for sure. I mean, I don't think if it wasn't for you, I don't think I would have ever got to this point. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And you did all the hard work. You're a great student. You kept engaged. I would send you messages and you would
Yes,
respond.
every day. Yes. So
You did so well. Yeah. So I'm really excited.
for
The
all
reason
your help.
why I upped the ante on the messages, I'm like, oh my goodness, she's only got 2 weeks. Well, and I told you right from the get-go that we have to be in close sync since you got 2 weeks, which is very, very limited amount of time.
And you'd be surprised how much you can get done in a week.
Wow. It's wisdom.
So, you know, I took off from work 2 weeks. I didn't say anything, didn't do anything but breathe
Wow.
this process.
Wow. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for coming to share this with us. Of course, you know, you're going to get a PDU, your first PDU as a PMP, your professional development units. Please keep them up. Don't let your PMP lapse, no matter what. And I want you to remember that crazy guy Phil said, don't let your PMP lapse, even if you win the lottery. You win 500 million. Don't let it lapse.
Thank you so much. Good luck, everybody. Good luck, Stan.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Thanks. Good luck.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, Phil.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.